Welcome to KeepItReal Studios, the only channel on YouTube that keeps it real.
Ben Affleck's Batman might not be everyone's favorite, but when you really think about it, his version aligns almost perfectly with Thomas Wayne's Batman from the Flashpoint comics. From the brutal combat style to the darker moral compass, and even more of a physically imposing frame. Affleck's portrayal brings to life the kind of Batman Thomas Wayne was: ruthless, seasoned, and unforgiving. It's almost like the DCEU gave us Thomas Wayne in disguise, and most of us didn't even notice. Thomas Wayne's Batman doesn't hold back, and neither does Batfleck. In Batman vs Superman, we see Affleck's Batman brand criminals, stab thugs, and even kill them. While controversial, this does mirror Thomas Wayne's no-nonsense lethal approach. Thomas fights to the end, and Batfleck's Batman clearly shares the same mindset. Thomas Wayne was always portrayed as someone older, a grizzled man who had seen too much and was hardened by tragedy. Affleck's Batman is the same: older, bulkier figure and clearly seasoned, and scarred by years of fighting crime. This grayed hair in his hair and the tiredness in his voice and his sheer size of build gives us major Thomas Wayne vibes. Thomas Wayne in the comics operates with a darker moral lens, often driven by pain and loss. Affleck's Batman is in a similar place, deeply cynical, willing to kill, and haunted by decades of fighting what seems to be a losing battle. This isn't the hopeful Bruce Wayne from earlier illustrations, especially in the comic books. One of the biggest contrasts between Bruce and Thomas Wayne in the comics is that they use guns. Bruce famously refuses to use them, but Thomas Wayne is happy to use them. Affleck's Batman uses guns heavily. He mounts lethal weapons on his Batmobile, Batwings, and it blurred the lines between the original Batman compass of using guns in the comic books. When it comes to the comics books, when Bruce loses his parents on the fateful night, that truly makes him become Batman. But when Thomas Wayne loses Bruce and his wife, that's when he officially snaps. Batfleck shows this version of Batman who has lost his moral compass, which fans theorize that he could have been from losing Robin. But that kind of loss makes him harsher, another emotional tie into Thomas. In the Flash movie that came out in 2023, we got glimpses of timelines, and it had the DCU taking a slightly different direction. Ben Affleck could have easily been written as Thomas Wayne from an alternate Earth. His version was already halfway there. He was basically one storyline away from becoming Thomas Wayne. I truly believe that Ben Affleck's Batman was interesting and unique. Personally, he was not my favorite, but I did like his style and approach to Batman. There's some things I clearly didn't agree with, but I could clearly see the vision of what he did. But in that terms, I feel like Ben Affleck would have been a perfect illustration of what Thomas Wayne should have been. I was kind of just looking into Zack Snyder's Justice League recently, and while I was looking at Batman, I always kind of felt like Ben Affleck would have been a perfect version for Thomas Wayne. The look, the physique, and just his moral compass would have been a perfect illustration of what he should have been. But that's it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Just comment down below how you feel about Ben Affleck's Batman, and do you think he would have been good as Thomas Wayne? That'd be it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to keep it real.